Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Been seeing a couple of comments floating around as I am starting the new year with a different focus in my reading, more towards classic books. I've seen a couple of reoccurring comments saying that they would like some classic book recommendations for those who are maybe not so familiar with some older works. So this is exactly that. I got a stack of 5. Oh shoot, if I wouldn't drop the whole stack. A stack of 5 sorry, slippery. Stack of 5 books here to sweeten the deal when it comes to dipping your toes into classic books. And now, by all means, I am not a classic book connoisseur. I don't believe like classics are a genre in and of itself. I think it's just sort of an era, and there are multiple eras. Some of these are more modern classics from the 20th century, some a bit more dated, and we'll get into those as they come up. But before we get into the books, just want to say a thank you to everyone for all the likes, comments, subscriptions. It's been awesome. If you're new here, consider subscribing. I've got this book momentum going, so plenty more videos to come. And let me know what you think of the new camera angle. I finally got like a proper ring light and a tripod. I'm not setting books up on, or setting my phone up on a pile of books and having it fall over in between takes and stuff like that. So I'm making it big time here. We'll see. Let me know what you guys think of it. But yeah, appreciate all the support. And let's dive right into it. First book here. This is going first because I'm currently reading this at the time of recording this video, and I'm flying through it. I read 120 pages of it yesterday, and that is abnormal for me. I usually read around 50 pages a day no matter what book I'm reading, and I'm loving it, and I didn't think I would like it this much. And that is Lord of the Flies by William Golding. This book was not at all what I thought it would be like. I wasn't assigned to read this in school, so I hadn't read it before. I thought it was like some sci-fi thing in the woods. It sort of has hints of that, but if you're unfamiliar with the story, it is about a downed plane following World War II, sort of in the Cold War era during the nuclear armament days. A downed plane full of boys in the forest, and they must survive. They sort of set up their own hierarchy and ways of working and things of that nature, and it sort of delves into the chaos that ensues. Like I said, I'm about 120 pages into it, and I am loving it. It reads like a modern thriller. It is sort of a thriller book in a sense. Some elements of sci-fi. The land itself is very mystical, very magical. The island that they're on, I should say. And if you have read this, let me know down below what you thought of it. I'm liking it a whole lot more than I thought I would. So that is Lord of the Flies. Next one here was one of the first classics I had read. I guess this one, sort of like the last one, is more of a modern classic, and maybe that is a consistent theme with all of these 20th century classics here. That is All Quiet on the Western Front by Eric Remarque. This says on the cover, the greatest war story of all time. I will probably have to agree with that. It is set in World War I, about a German boy, infantryman in the war, and it portrays the horrors of that war and the tragedy of loss and the day-to-day life of the soldier and how miserable the conditions were. Granted, it is fiction, not nonfiction, but there are definitely nonfiction elements in it. Give this one a read if you have any interest in the historical aspect of World War I, the emotional aspect of it, things of that nature. It reads like it is more of a modern classic, definitely. When was this written? I don't know if it will tell me. I don't know off the top of my head. I believe 1920 something was when this book was written. Yeah, I'm not really seeing a whole lot in the cover, but All Quiet on the Western Front, give it a read. has any interest to you, it reads like a modern war book. Next up is a recent read of mine that I probably should have read in high school that I didn't. This is more in the realm of sci-fi when it comes to classic books. That is George Orwell's 1984. This reads like it was published yesterday. Language is not very difficult. Well, I think this book was published in like the 60s. I actually have no idea. I probably should have known before. Maybe it was 1949 that this book came out. But still, 75-ish years old, that's definitely getting up there. This tells the tale of, obviously if you're familiar with the story, it's quite a well-known one. If you're not, it is a very popular dystopian novel. It tells sort of a what-if story of if mass media censorship and loss of free will and things of that nature were to happen in a large scale over, you know, the entirety of the British nations, so to speak. Now it is one sort of supercontinent in and of itself, and it is fascinating. Like I said, it is not like a stuffy, like highbrow book. It reads like a modern sci-fi book. It has sort of elements of everything in it, elements of, you know, action, horror, romance. I truly think anyone could get something out of this book, and people could get something out of this in a reread. So give it a read if you haven't. Maybe this is your time to pick it up again. If you have, that is George Orwell's 1984. I thought I wouldn't like this book, and I loved it. It was probably in my top 15 of last year. It didn't make the top 10, but a good book all around. Now, if you've seen a couple of my videos in the past, I've raved about this book by author of All Quiet on the Western Front. So he has 2 appearances in this video that I don't have the dust jacket for, but that is Heaven Has No Favorites by Eric Remarque, author of All Quiet on the Western Front. This is one of his lesser known works. I don't know why I'm holding it up. It has no dust jacket, but this tells the story of a race car driver man. That is his profession. It's a race car driver. And he is off to visit his racing duo who is sort of boarded up in a hospital in the Swiss Alps following an accident. And in there he meets a woman who is not sure how much longer she will live for due to an unknown to her condition. And she wants to escape and live life by the fast lane, so to speak. So you can sort of see how those 2 protagonists are going to bounce off of one another, the race car driver and this female patient. You probably suspected a romance ensues between the race car driver and the main female character in this novel, and it is fascinating. No spoilers or anything, but this is truly a classic romance book with elements of cars and racing sort of folded in throughout. So if that sounds like up your alley, I don't know why more people aren't talking about this book. It reads like a sort of modern romance. You can tell it's dated for sure, but it's not hard to get through. I read this in 2 days. This was in my top 10 books, maybe my best book of last year, coming in and stealing the lead right out from under the others towards the end of the year. That is Heaven Has No Favorites by Eric Remarque. And last but not least, probably hesitant to say my favorite because we just reviewed Heaven Has No Favorites, but this one, maybe, I'm not too sure. This one was great. This sort of has everything. Like, if you followed me for a bit now, granted I haven't been on here for a while, but I love the family drama stories. I love the all-encompassing stories that span many, many years. And this has just that. This is A Tree Grows in Brooklyn by Betty Smith. Once again, more of a modern classic here. But I sort of immersive read this. I read you'll flip through the pages while I was listening to the audiobook at the same time. And that was great. This tells the story of a girl from young adolescence to early adulthood in Brooklyn, in one of the poorer areas of the time. I believe from the turn of the century, 1900, up until 1912, I believe, maybe 1916. 1902 to 1919. Okay. And it is a beautiful coming of age story, a family drama, if you're into that, which I certainly am. And it truly has something in it for everyone. Much like 1984, there are elements of romance, elements of action and thriller and mystery. It is a cozy book at times. It is a heartbreaking book at others. Give this one a read if you have not. A Tree Grows in Brooklyn by, cover up the name, Betty Smith. So yeah, that is, let me get them in size order here. That is 5 books that you can sort of get dip your toes in the classics era of writing, that aren't too snuffy, aren't too stuffed up. You can definitely understand the language and see the political significance of the books. Yeah, Heaven Has No Favorites, A Tree Grows in Brooklyn, Lord of the Flies, 1984, and All Quiet on the Western Front. A variety of genres. Sci-fi, thriller, bits of horror mixed in with Lord of the Flies, romance with Heaven Has No Favorites, war with All Quiet on the Western Front, family drama and intrigue with A Tree Grows in Brooklyn. So something in here for everyone. I sort of wanted a more broad spectrum of literature. Like I said, I don't believe like the classics are a genre. It is a time period of writing, and almost all of these are sort of modern classics coming out in the 20th century. Actually, I believe all of them are. So not too dated, but definitely worth a shot for sure. And they hold up to today's standards for whatever merit that is to you. And yeah, appreciate everyone sticking around up until this point. Make sure you give it a video a like if you liked it. Subscribe if you're new here for more videos just like this. As you can see, we're upgrading our recording situation with the ring light and a tripod and things of that nature. Maybe there is some difference, maybe there's not. Let me know down below, and let me know if you've read any of these books and what your thoughts are of them. But with that, appreciate everyone watching, and we'll catch you in the next one. Thanks for hanging out, guys.